What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Third Person. I am one of your hosts, Kris, and on my one side is Mike.
What's going on?
And the other side is Jesse.
How you doing?
My hands are all crossed. Guys, welcome to the very first episode of Westworld, Season 1, Episode 1, entitled The Original. We're in it, guys. We actually just recorded our reaction video, so if you haven't seen that, go check it out. Let us know if you like it. It was pretty fun to do. And this, we're going to do our little, our whole spiel, our recap, review, and react. Whatever. Anyway, let's get into it, guys. This was, I think it's safe to say that we all actually really enjoyed this show.
Oh, absolutely. It was very interesting.
Oh, yeah.
If I were to give it some buzzwords, I'd say it was creepy. I'd say it was in-depth. I'd say it was awesome. I'd say it was just really good. Just really good stuff.
Creative.
Very
Yeah,
creative.
absolutely creative.
Since it's the new show, we don't have a lot to talk about, guys, because it's brand new. We're just learning. We learned some of the characters' names. We learned, we're getting a feel for the world and everything.
Yeah.
But why don't we talk about the one big twist that none of us saw coming, which was Ed Harris's character, who turns out to be
the human.
He's a human. He's not a host.
Human.
And I don't know about you guys, but when that turned up, I was like, oh, this is gonna be something.
Yeah.
They've got something here,
Yeah, no, that was cool the way they played that.
Yeah.
Because they obviously did that on purpose, and we all watched it together for the first time, which was really cool at the same time. So yeah, right off the bat, we all think that that Teddy is the human. You know?
So before we get into anything too crazy, I'll briefly recap what goes on in the show, and it's basically we're introduced to the world, and we're told about hosts who are the androids and the guests who are the humans. And in the park, obviously, just like the 1973 movie, the humans can do whatever they want: kill, bang, be a sheriff, be the evil villain, be whatever they want. Things start to go wrong, and they're set up in the show. It's set up that Anthony Hopkins, who his name is Dr. Ford, they initiated in about 200 hosts a new update. So one of their latest update, and what he's added in there is a thing called Reveries, which lets them remember certain things that they've done in the past and bring them out into their character. So whatever their loop is, whatever their narrative that they have programmed, they can actually almost rewrite or insert code to give them these little nuances from the past. So they remember past encounters, and that's a thing. So that's something that's causing them to glitch. We've got a couple glitches happening in the show, some of the characters, and then in the midst of that, we have Ed Harris's character, who again is human, and he's kind of throwing a wrench in all of their narrative loops that they call them by being just the outright villain and trying to basically force these robots to see that they're not actually human and that what their lives are not real. And then it just ends. It basically kind of ends. We get a little narrative at the end of what happened. That some of these guys are really reverting back to some of their previous lives that they had because they've been recommissioned, and they had a role 10 years ago. One would have a role as this, and now they have a role as this. So obviously they just keep recycling them into different roles. So so that's basically what happens in the show. So we're left with like, oh man, these things are going to start to and Mike, what happens at the end, man? Go ahead. You what happens?
Oh, with the fly.
Yeah. So
well, obviously, from the beginning we see the fly crawling across
multiple hosts' face, not just hers.
Yeah, absolutely, and there's no reaction to it.
They don't feel them. They don't feel them.
And after the end, obviously the last scene we see, which from the beginning we see, it opens with Dolores like that, and then at the end it ends with her, and she actually smacks the fly from her neck. So I obviously think that that's going to be a nice little taste of what's to come forward with the show, and how the robots are possibly would evolve, or are they evolving a bit with this new update, and if they should possibly retract some of the latest code to maybe bring them back a little less human.
Well, that's what they wanted to.
And-
They thought they could roll back the update, but
Yeah.
the problem is that not only are they reverting back, either they're starting to revert back on their own, but the bigger issue is that they're starting to realize that they're not what they're told they are.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think and you know, we've kind of watched like the preview for the rest of the series or the next episode and stuff. They're starting to get screwed up and starting to remember that they've died before, that they've loved before, that they've, you know, and
we got a taste of that, something similar in the original movie. You know, with the Yul Brynner character, kind of almost like
he
he's
had
tired
one
of being
track,
the one that's shot
just,
all the time.
Just
you know,
wanted to,
and he's pushing it. You know,
so
so it was very cool.
Yeah. So and then what we were talking off camera before we started recording was that Ed Harris's character who's playing the Man in Black, they're calling him, instead of the gunslinger, which we probably should have picked up on. I think we just figured, they just renamed him for the show, but he's a completely different character, wherein he's taking the game, and he even says it in the show, the line about, you know, being this, it's a game, but there's more to it, it's deeper.
He says, this is a game, this is all a game, and I want to get to the deeper level.
Yeah.
Right. So
He wants to find out how everything works.
He's taken the role of villain in this world, and he's really, like they said in the, you know, in this little behind the scenes thing, they said he wants to play that omnipotent villain, turning these androids against themselves and this and that. And so I'm of the opinion that in addition to the problems with the software and these new reveries that are causing a kind of a glitch, that he's enhancing that by, again, forcing them to question their own existence, because that's the check they do. When one went bad, they sat with them and they said, "Do you question your own existence?" And they're like, "No." And so I think that's one of their verbal checks to see if the systems are running, you know, firing on all cylinders. But yeah, so I mean, so that's my thing. That's my prediction, is that's what Ed Harris is doing. He's basically trying to cause chaos. He's an agent of chaos at this point, you know, because he can be. Because who's going to stop him, right? No one's going to stop him.
Exactly.
He essentially lives in that world. Like, that's the thing. Like, what are you doing? Like, does he ever leave the simulation? Does he ever?
I guess we'll find out. Yeah, he said he's been going there for 30 years.
Yeah.
So it's something that he's been infatuated with for a while.
Let's touch on that real quick. Like you said, Mike, this is kind of like a continuation, because
it seems that way,
right? Because it's the technology. They have a cold storage down in the basement with old models, and they talk about 30 years ago. So, I mean, if you think about it, 30 years ago was 1973. That was the move. That was the, you know what I'm saying? That's when the movie came
40
out.
40 years ago was 1943.
Well, yeah, but what I'm saying is, it's like
I mean, we only know that he said that he's been going there for 30 years. So obviously, there could be that other.
No. They said it. He said it when earlier on he was talking to the woman, and he said over 30 years ago. They said about the
when Ford mentions it.
No, I thought you were talking
it wasn't even Ford. It was Bernard and the woman who I think is French, and I can't remember her name.
Well, Ford mentioned it when he was talking.
He also mentioned it too, right?
Yeah.
So this is a park that's obviously been running for a very long time, and you know, and I think that's a really cool thing. So, I mean,
what do you think, Jesse? We haven't heard much out of you yet.
I'm just thinking about that scalp. Like, what was with that design on that scalp?
Tell us what happened, man.
I think his name was Eddie Rouse, actor. They paid tribute to him, had his character scalped on the show, and when they scalp him, Ed Harris's Man in Black looks at the skull, and you see that it has like a weird pattern on it, not quite like a brain, but
like a maze or something. It looked like a maze.
Almost like a code. Maybe it has something
actually
to do with...
looks like the map a little bit.
Right. Yeah.
It could be the programming somehow or something like that. Obviously, this technology is way advanced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think? Like, what is his deal? Like, what does he want to do? Like, he just wants
maybe anarchy.
Maybe he's just been in there for he's been there for
He's
so
bored.
long.
Yeah, he wants to find every little nook and cranny
Start pulling
about
the
how
seams
everything
out,
is
right?
done.
To see, like, I mean, I guess,
Yeah.
Oh, he's such
Maybe
a dick
he
then.
wants to push. He's pushing the envelope.
What a
He's
dick.
pushing the envelope. Yeah. I think the biggest part of it is going to be when they put the two most recent decommissioned people in there. When they put the father, Dolores' father, into the cold storage, and I had said to you guys, I think that's going to be a huge thing. That's going to be an uprising of these.
Oh, you
these
think?
cyborgs.
Oh, okay.
Because you saw the tears in his eyes, in
Yeah,
the
that's true.
Dolores' father's eyes. So, what's the biggest when you're talking about robotics and even the what we have nowadays is nothing compared to what this show is and how advanced they are. But emotion is that thing that the robot shouldn't have, because the emotion is what humans have,
And they can turn it
They're
off.
the emotional ones.
They
Yeah.
have commands that
So
you know.
It's for him to, for the father. I don't remember exactly what his name was, but Dolores' father, when they were putting him in
Abernathy.
Abernathy
yeah.
or whatever. Yeah,
John Abernathy, I think.
he's obviously feeling and understanding what's going on to a point, and I guess we'll see what happens further. But I have that's going to be a big key into what's going to happen.
Part of the uprising,
in
yeah.
the future. Yeah, as far as maybe an uprise of some sort.
What do you guys think about, speaking of that cold storage, when we first meet Ford, Anthony Hopkins, when he's having a drink with an older model who's this grizzled, gunslinger, and what'd you guys think of that? Because the movements, he was so cool. Like he was just, like and then he'd stutter,
cool.
like like it was just
an outdated model kind of a thing. Yeah, but still, he said he loves the conversation.
Right,
Anthony Hopkins.
I thought that was such an interesting scene to
Yeah, it was very cool. Maybe one of the coolest ones there.
And and it illustrates who his character is. He's obviously an older man. He's probably way past retirement. He's still hanging out in this huge facility, and he just likes to spend time with his creation. So I think that's something that's important later. You know what I mean? Like when this happens, I could see it going one of two ways. Either he's gonna rise up and be like, "Oh, we need to destroy them all," or he's gonna be like, "Oh, but they're my children."
Yeah.
Don't, you know what I mean? One of those scenarios. Yeah, we've seen it before, but unless they do something different, but which would be awesome, because they seem to be doing really interesting things. And in the end of that scene, he tells him, "You can put yourself back," right? And he goes, and that older model goes and zips himself back up into a body bag. That was just so cool.
Yeah, I was looking at the scene where they put the Abernathy guy, when they put him in the cold storage. And I just rewatched it twice. I cannot tell what he whispered to him, but he says back.
Yeah, that's the point.
Yeah.
We'll find out.
I'm good at reading lips, but he says back, so I don't know.
But crazy that he had tears in his eyes. So it's like, but you're not supposed to have an opinion about that. You're supposed to do what you're told. And go back. So crazy. Yeah. Let's talk about real quick how they pair them off. And Ed Harris says, "I never understood why they pair you off the way they do," or something to that effect. Why
do you pair yourself with him when they were talking about Teddy and Dolores?
Yeah, well, he said they pair them off. So the creators create these pairs, and it ties into the whole 100 or over hundreds of narrative loops that they have playing that are all intertwined, all the stories. There's a character who, again, and I don't know his name yet, the British guy, he's the uppity British guy, who is the one that writes all this fan fiction, basically. And he, it's his job to interweave all of these. So he's basically one of the game devs that does he writes the stories for the game. I don't know about you guys, but I saw this as almost like Grand Theft Auto, where it's like
a little bit.
It's just all scripted things that are constantly happening, and the player just runs through. And in the beginning there was a side mission with going into the hills to find Hector. Right? Was his name Hector? I think it was Hector.
Yeah, it was.
Right?
Yeah, Hector the bandit.
Hector.
Something, right? And he, and it's like a side quest, and you could do it and you could not do it. And he even asks the other hosts, and the hosts are programmed to interact with each other, to kill each other, to bang each other, to love each other, and it's just really, dude, just very much like a video game.
Very
and,
cool.
And I really,
very
really
cool.
enjoyed that
It was
aspect
interesting.
of it.
I'm definitely looking forward to next week.
Yeah. We'll talk about real quick. Talk about the action so basically, what happens is they have to recall the 200 the models, which are, I think he said, roughly about 10% of their host population.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
So to cover that up, they do this basically a real-time event. Again, gaming, right? A gaming metaphor or acronym, whatever. Not acronym, what? Idiot. But so they set up this real-time event where Hector, the bandit, and his group of bandits come down from the hills and just like decimate the town and just wipe out the bar and stuff like that. And he ends up getting shot by one of the characters who, one of the guests who had just recently showed up, and and just really interesting, like just a really interesting thing, and like the action in this is really fun. Like it's just you know.
The shootout was definitely one of the better parts, as far as the action scenes.
Check this out. We got to see, remember we were questioning whether or not how were they going to do like the sensor in the gun. So we got to see it with Teddy shooting Ed Harris's character, where it hit him, right? It hit Ed Harris, but poofed, like it didn't hit him. I don't understand it yet. I don't know. Do you guys understand it yet? How that works? I'm not exactly too sure about that. Like, is it still shooting something? Oh, maybe maybe their bodies are filled with like squibs, or it's so when this projectile hits the host's body, it produces the blood. But on a human, it doesn't.
Yeah. It could. I mean, honestly, these things are they're so far advanced. It could be anything. Something that there might not
I think
be
my
any
theory is
kind
right.
of. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if
I'm
you're
just saying.
right,
I'm kidding.
because
The
guy drinking the milk had a hole in him.
But that means he was glitching and he wasn't reacting to that. They're programmed to react to a gunshot, like, oh no, but he wasn't. He was out of his program.
The thing is, he has a hole in him, so that means there is a bullet going somewhere, somehow, some way.
See, I don't think so. And I hope we get shown.
Know.
I think it's a sensor situation where wherever the bullet, I keep doing air quotes, hits them, that's where it's like a squib. So like they're basically rigged. Their bodies are rigged to have a hole.
It could be something like that, but like I said, it's so advanced, it doesn't matter what really it is. But for what we just know how it works.
But I want to know, Mike, and we will know.
Yeah, well, we will find out. This is the first episode, all right?
We will know. So don't worry about it.
Yeah,
don't worry about it.
There could not be. There may not be a projectile at all. It could just be something.
A sensor thing. I think it might be like a sensor type thing. That's why, like I said, it's in the individual host to have that stuff. How about Ed Harris slitting the character's? I don't remember his name, Jesse, but the actor who passed.
I can't remember his name either.
But he slits his throat and then he drains his blood. He leaves him only with 3. He's got like 3 buckets full of blood, and he and he drains them, and then he says, "I left 3 pints in you. That should be just enough for you to tell me what I want to know." And
well,
then
it says 3 liters now. That's different.
What did he say? Oh, I said
3 liters.
What did I say? Pints?
Yeah.
No,
pints.
I'm wrong. No, it's liters. And and then he goes and he scalps him and stuff like that. So, but it's just. It's you gotta love a good. There's a lot of questions, and I know we're gonna get the answers, but it's a fun ride to get there.
Yeah.
It's not frustrating, and I like that because there's tons of other things to see and look at basically in the meantime before we get all that stuff. So anything else, guys? I was just trying to give out major points here.
Yeah, I think
just the awesome. Soundtrack for me.
Oh, let's talk about the soundtrack. Go for it.
Well, let's let Mike go because the soundtrack's kind of like a side thing.
Oh,
I think Mike has.
I think my biggest point, like I already said, is, well, obviously the one I quote with that I thought about with the fly, but and also the cold storage thing. I already mentioned it, so I don't have to get into it again. But I think that's going to play. Yeah, it's going to play big into it somehow, and just the tear and the emotion that was in Dolores' father's eye. But you can, yeah, go for it, Jess.
The freaking like the acoustics and the not acoustics. What's the word I'm looking for here? The
Orchestral
soundtrack,
version, the soundtrack,
orchestral version, soundtracks, all that. They blend it so well. I didn't even realize at first it was Black Hole Sun playing on the piano. And
Yeah.
it's like,
In
and it plays
ball, right?
perfectly.
Yeah. And
They
then
picked the perfect music for every scene.
and then
And
paint
paint
it
it
black
black.
when the
Yep.
gang attacked the town. Yeah, that was the orchestral version, and then the Black Hell Sun was on the piano, but it was the
Yep.
I don't know what it's called, but it's that pre-printed
Recorder.
Yeah.
recorded sheet.
Yep.
That
Yep.
they used that back then. Like they created
Yeah.
that's a real thing.
Yeah.
Just really cool, and it's so funny because we're all of a sudden one of us is like, "Hey, that's we're like, oh shit, yeah,
Yeah,
that is,
Jesse
yeah,"
had
and it's
said
just
it,
like
yeah.
it just fits so well produced. The I mean the graphics, the CGI, whatever, to be honest with you, I couldn't even tell. Like, obviously they use CGI, but like when they were creating the fiber, the body, like, was that practical or was that CGI? Because
I couldn't tell.
that looked
Yeah.
fucking good, and I'm practiced in spotting CGI. I mean, most of the time it's not hard to do, but that looked practical almost. I mean, obviously the
Big time.
machine creating the strands of muscle fiber and stuff, that was obviously,
Yeah.
but so good, man. Like, just fucking top notch.
Yep.
Like they say in Jurassic, like John Hammond's Jurassic Park, spared no expense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, I mean we could just revel on about this for hours, but guys, I think that's it. I think we've basically covered
man.
everything.
Yeah, man.
We're obviously deeply excited for the show, and it's got a lot of potential. The acting I think was great.
Yep.
Characters are we're just getting started, and it just looks like we're going to get a new guest, and we're going to start following this guy around, and so we're going to get it from his perspective. So this was essentially like a prequel, and then we're going to get this guest, right? And it's going to be like where the movie started when the James Brolin and Richard Dawson show up. Dawson, that wasn't Richard Dawson, but you know what I'm saying. Richard.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
What's his? Whatever. Anyway, I think now that's what's going to happen. So this was kind of like the prequel. Like, this is what's started everything. This is what's going on. And when this guy comes in, it's going to be like, oh, okay, now we're in the mix. Now we're going to follow this guy around. I think he might be one of obviously he's going to be like the main character on the guest side of things. Because we have the scientists, we have the hosts, and now we have the guests. So yeah, I'm just excited. It's a really cool show. So between that and we're gonna have The Walking Dead in a couple weeks, and it's gonna be insane. It's gonna be insane. So I think that's it, guys. Is that a show? That our
That's
review?
it.
Yeah, I got
That's
a
it.
few names here for you.
Spit him out.
The British guy that we liked, the really snappy,
The writer,
smarmy one.
the fan fiction writer, yeah.
His name in the show is Lee
Smarmy.
Sizemore. So now we know who he is.
Lee. Okay,
and-
that's
and-
Lee.
Yeah. Luke Hemsworth's character, the one that cleans it up, his name's Stubbs. I don't know if we all caught that or not.
Did not.
And there was one more here. The
The woman.
guy that died.
Oh.
He was named Kissy.
Oh, right. The game guy. What
Yeah,
about the
Eddie
woman?
Rouse.
The French woman. The other.
French woman. I've had a
Administrator.
hard time finding her in the credits.
IMDb it, man.
That's what I'm on.
Really?
It's just not coming up.
That's malarkey.
I think her name is Armistice, actually. Yeah, this is her, but it's a younger picture of her on there.
Okay.
Yeah, Armistice is her
Where's
name.
she from? Look at her bio. She doesn't have a bio.
Hold on, she does have a bio. She went to Trondheim, so I don't know.
Doesn't say she was born. Anyway.
She's Norwegian.
Norwegian. Okay. All right. Well, I knew it was something like that because she doesn't. I knew her first language wasn't English. Anyway, mystery solved. It wasn't a mystery. We could easily find that out, which Jesse just proved. Guys, so let us know in the comments what you think. Let us know if you even watched the show. I assume you did if you're watching this, or if we got you to watch the show. Let us know. So leave some comments. If you're listening to us, if you're listening to us on SoundCloud, put some little comments on there. Get to us at Third Person Pod on the Instagrammel, on Twitter. And anything else? Oh, I didn't start a Snapchat yet. I might have already started the Snapchat if you're watching this. It might already be up. So check for us on Snapchat too. Check us out on Instagram. Mikey and I have been running the Instagram. We've been putting up some stuff, and yeah, we should put up more stuff, huh, Mike? We should probably get on.
Yeah,
that.
absolutely.
Put up more
absolutely.
stuff. But yeah,
you got more stuff coming this weekend.
Oh, that's right. Do we want to plug those things? This is a timely video, so I'm not even sure. But if you're watching this video, go check out our Luke Cage video if you haven't checked it out. Our Netflix Luke Cage recap review, and we also got the next issue of we do Jesse does a comic review for the Walking Dead comic. So go check that out. That should be up as well. Yep. And yeah, I think that's it right now. Like I said, from this point when we're recording this, we have a couple weeks to The Walking Dead season 7 premiere, so that's going to be good. We're all psyched about that. And guys, thank you so much for paying us attention. You can tell it's tired when I can't string words together for a sentence, but thank you guys for paying us attention and commenting and showing support. We really love it, and we're glad to have you guys here with us. And
keep watching.
And all that. Yes, exactly. So, all right, guys. Anything else?
That's it.
Anything?
I think that's good.
I think
it's a wrap.
All right, that's a show, guys. Listen, be good to each other, and have a good one. Peace out.